After the horrible incident on September 9, 2001, the United States fell into a deep despair due to the terrorist attacks. To commemorate for those who lost, Americans demonstrated patriotism, which gave the country a sense of unity. President Bush had a few retaliations to the terrorist attacks.
Our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does not end there. It will not end until every terrorist group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated.
Firstly, Bush planned to invade Afghanistan in an operation called Operation Enduring Freedom. In the operation, Bush claims that the U.S. military will bring all terrorists to justice. The operation was meant to capture and bring Osama bin Laden to justice. Unfortunately, the operation failed. However, the United States overstayed their operation in Afghanistan. Some skeptics don't believe the war on terror was meant to capture Osama bin Laden, but an act of colonialism. The war on terror was a cover-up for the United States to try to discreetly exploit some of Afghanistan's natural resources, like oil and minerals. It was said the invasion was planned prior to September the 9th/11, but used the attacks as the major motive to go to the Middle East. Back in America, Bush enacts the Patriot Act. The act was meant to catch any terrorist inhabiting the U.S. and obstruct terrorism. However, 0 terrorists were caught under the Patriot Act. President Bush still had faith in the Patriot Act and renews the bill in 2006. Equally important, he broadened the suspects to terrorists and drug dealers.
I'm going to sign, in a few moments I'll be signing the USA Patriot Improvement and Reauthorization Act. This is a really important piece of legislation. It is a piece of legislation that's vital to win the war on terror and to protect the American people. Law allows our intelligence and law enforcement officials to continue to share information. It allows them to continue to use tools against terrorists that they use against drug dealers and other criminals. It'll improve our nation's security while we safeguard the civil liberties of our people.
From 2006 to modern day, the United States has caught 15 terrorists but caught a much greater number of drug dealers. Critics of the Bush administration claim sold America a fake bill which uses terrorism as a disguise to broaden social control power. Bush claims the bill he enacted protects the civil liberties of the American citizens. In actuality, the bill was terrorizing the people that inhabit the United States because it is unconstitutional. The act gave the government the power to take away inalienable rights. Here are some of the many rights taken away under the Patriot Act.
Following the introduction of the Act, many Arabs, South Asians, and Muslims, along with Americans of Arab descent, reported being questioned by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies, and an increase of racial and ethnic profiling from airport security officers. There were also reports of the FBI collecting data and conducting surveillance on mosques and Islamic centers.
The act puts some colored people at a disadvantage due to racial profiling. Any person could be a victim of the Patriot Act, but some more than others. The Patriot Act is said to target those who are terrorists, but it mostly targets those who are said to look and act like terrorists. Unfortunately, Middle Eastern people are discriminated more often because they fit a quote-unquote profile to suspect them as terrorists. Since Bush made drug dealers a suspects under the Patriot Act, Latinos and African Americans are being discriminated as well. Equally important, Bush linked the war on terror to the war on drugs and assisted in a major incarceration rate/population in the United States. A short-term solution to the Patriot Act would be to set up a system of checks and balances. The checks and balances would keep the Patriot Act in being fair and not to terrorize the people of America. The system would allow the act to do its job, but with limitations, and the system can rule if an action is just or unjust. A long-term solution would be to take the act to be reviewed by the judicial branch, to see in hopes of ruling the policy as unconstitutional. Even though the checks and balances system would keep the act in line, there is still the possibility of having unjust actions from the government. The possible ruling would abolish the act and the rights of Americans would not be tampered by this policy anymore.